See, all right, we're good. All right,
Okay.
CEO of the USTA, Michael Dowse. How are you, sir?
Doing great, Ivan. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
I appreciate the time. I know you're a busy man. Squeezing you in is not so easy, so thank you so much.
Happy to do it.
Well, first, it's good seeing you. I would expect a huge stadium, like in the backdrop right now, or a huge USDA emblem. It's a plain wall. Oh, it's exciting.
Well, I just recently moved to Florida, so I haven't completely moved into the new house. But, as part of the new job coming from Wilson, I wanted to come to Orlando where our community tennis headquarters is based, because to me, tennis all starts at the grassroots and local level. So I wanted to be close to our community tennis group.
I'll ask you, you mentioned Wilson, so it was a nice tangent. I used the Wilson pro staff growing up, even the Prince pro staff, the Prince Graphite. How was Wilson? I've known Wilson forever, Prince forever. Those were the two big companies growing up. How was it with Wilson?
Yeah, no, I loved Wilson. It's strange. I actually had 2 stints there. I was there right out of college as a rep and worked my way up over to Europe, and then actually left, went to Nike, and then got in the ski business and came back to Wilson a second time. And both times it was great. I see a lot of similarities to my role now in that sports equipment, which Wilson is very different than a sports apparel and footwear brand, and that people actually have to play your sport to use your equipment. Yeah, sure. With apparel and footwear, you can be a fan and still purchase the product. But in equipment, you're not a fan and buying rackets or tennis balls. You actually have to play. So, same with our mission at USTA to get to grow and promote the sport of tennis. We need people playing. So it's getting people active is the similarity between the two jobs.
How is it? You just moved to Orlando. I can see a brand new home. And I get it. 3 months ago, we moved into a new home. We had nothing. Literally, the white wall. How is it? You're in a city, new people. You're the guy. It all starts with you. How's it going so far in your first 3 months? Less COVID, and then tell me about with COVID.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, Orlando's great because it's the national campus. I'm sure you've been there. We have 100 courts. It was, in one sense, it was sad. In my last week there, we were hitting up to over 400 college matches had been played there already this year. So you can imagine the energy and excitement there. And then, unfortunately, we just had to turn it off right away. But it was the right decision. We established some principles, and the first one is the health and safety of everyone. And that was the right reason, or right decision at that point to close the campus and suspend play in our leagues and tournaments. But we're slowly opening up again, and it's fun to see people out there playing.
It's we were on a call earlier, USTA National Junior Comp Committee, and we heard that slowly starting. Unfortunately, the nationals, the hard courts, were canceled, which we understand what's going on. It's exciting to see tennis growing. I'll say, it goes like this a little bit here and there, but tennis is going like this, especially with this unfortunate virus going on, because it's a safe sport. You can play, it's active, and it's social.
Spot on. That's the silver lining. That's even more than a silver lining. We're fighting fires. We have some burning platforms right now with the coronavirus and the U.S. Open. But the silver lining is tennis is a perfect sport coming out of this pandemic. We've heard that sales at mass merchants of what I call pre-strung tennis rackets and tennis balls have doubled since the end of March. And we know people buying rackets and balls there are new players. And that's exciting. And if you drive by public courts right now, they're full. Tennis is a perfect COVID sport. We don't say it's social distancing, it's physical distancing, because you're still socializing in tennis, even though you're across the net from one another. And it's the perfect sport. It's socially rewarding, it's intellectually rewarding, and it's physically rewarding. And that's everything people want after being locked down in their homes for several months.
Yeah, they want the kids out of the house too. I get it.
Exactly.
The hard question, U.S. Open. The world wants it. The country wants it. Sections want it. And obviously, it's not like just turn on the light switch. Talk to us about what the different ideas were and how you came about saying, something, let's run with it in the safest possible manner.
Yeah, so we started by establishing principles, because we knew there was going to be a lot of decisions to make. And those 3 principles are, can we pull it off in a health and safe way for everyone? That's the players, our staff, and the city of New York. If we can do that, then we go to 2. Is it good for tennis? Is it in the best interest of tennis? Does it stimulate excitement? Does it stimulate the tennis ecosystem? And 3, does it financially make sense? And as of today, all 3 of those are still, we have the green light on all 3. We work really closely with the city of New York, the state of New York, to make sure our health protocols are proper. We know our place in society. We would never put tennis ahead of the health and well-being of our communities. But as of today, we got green light on all three. It could change, but as of today, we're excited and we think we can pull this off.
And you're going to. It's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm a tennis guy. I love watching New York at night, which I'm sure everyone does.
Yes.
And nothing on anyways. So this is like a double great thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. People are starved for great content and having the best athletes in the world playing on the main stage of the U.S. Open. I think it's, and as we talked about earlier, think about all these new players to the game. They'll love watching the U.S. Open.
Absolutely, I agree. Let's talk junior tennis for a second. We run a number of national events, state events, and all. We had an event this past weekend. We were the first event in Palm Beach County since March, and our safety guidelines were through the roof. So what do you see going to happen between now and, let's say, December? Call it USTA tennis and tennis.
Yeah, I mean, the way we're approaching it, and Ivan, I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of your question. We're approaching it at a very local level right now. You mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we had to cancel the national hard courts and whatnot, but that involved a lot of interstate travel. And so that's one of the big differences. Local tennis tournaments, as we know, every community is experiencing the virus at different levels. So we didn't want to have a blanket policy across the country at this point. We wanted to empower the local communities, in alignment with the local authorities to make the right decisions. So right now we see pockets of tournaments happening, but we don't feel it's right and the time is right to have tournaments that involve a lot of travel at this point and bringing mass gatherings together.
I'll say from the last 3 months with all these national events, I mean, with thousands of people, a handful of emails I've received of why. 99% understand. They just do.
Right.
Question, let's call it grow the game of tennis. I'm a tennis fan, fanatic. I have 3 kids. They all can play. That's my job. I'm done. I can't force anything else. And they play every sport. But I want my kids to play with their friends. So what do you foresee in the future, growing the sport? I want my son to bring a friend every day if he goes out there. And I'm a fanatic with team events as well. Just what's your thoughts in, the younger generation and maybe team play as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's our challenge of growing the sport's part of a bigger challenge. I mean, we have an inactivity and obesity issue in this country that affects all sports. But again, I go back to coming out of the pandemic. I think people are realizing the importance of sport and what it can do for people. And so that's the first victory, to get people excited to get active. And then once they choose to be active, tennis is the perfect sport. The key to it, though, we need what I would call hand-to-hand combat to convert these kids, to attract them, engage them, and retain them. Because, just a glossy or glitzy marketing campaign isn't going to bring kids to tennis necessarily. We need boots on the ground, a lot of great teaching pros out there helping these kids have a positive experience, and adults for that matter, any new first-time players come to the game. Because, once you get through that learning curve, there's no better sport than tennis.
I agree. It's my 9-year-old, my youngest son. He's playing tennis nonstop, and all his buddies are baseball, football. They now actually want to go play with him, so it's cool.
Yeah, I've experienced the same thing.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. We call them double Q because I don't want to take too much of your time. You're a tennis player. I'm telling you, you're now in the finals of the U.S. Open. You made it. Michael Dowse, you're in it. Who do you want to play and who do you want to beat? Anybody.
Well, that's a good question. I'm in the finals of the U.S. Open. I'm hoping there's an American across the net, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know, maybe I'm going to date myself. I was watching on USTA on our social channel today on Instagram right before we got on. Actually, it was Twitter, and they showed old clips of Connors playing McEnroe. And for anyone who's hit balls with me, I probably hit the flattest ball around. So I want to see, my mentor, who was Connors at the time, and see if I can beat him with the flat ball.
And when you win, are you going to go around the court going like this?
Yeah, exactly. And he had I'm brand agnostic now in my new role, but he did have a Wilson racket. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. I want you falling on the ground and going like this. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. I would. All right. Wilson Pro Staff, Wilson Profile. What's better?
Profile brought thousands of new people to the game.
Okay. All right. I get it. It's this thick. Oh, it did that.
Believe it or not, my senior year in college, I played with the Profile 95. I was a serve and volleyer.
Oh, well, that's why. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's chipped and charged all day.
For sure.
I'm a base ladder, so I couldn't use it.
You'd be pro staff.
Yeah. Last question. USDA in 3 years. Again, you're CEO. This is your vision. I believe in my heart, and so does everyone else, COVID will go away. There's going to be a back time. What do you foresee the USTA in 3 years?
Well, we have core players and recreational players, and we want to see both that grow. Right now, we're around 17 million total players. We're setting our goals now, but in 3 years, can we get to 21, 22 million, which is a pretty aggressive goal, considering, all the inactivity issues we're battling as well in the U.S. But we just want to see more people playing tennis and having a great time with it. And I think about the 70s, what Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs did to excite tennis. In a weird way, maybe the pandemic can do that for our sport in this generation, to really open the eyes to tons of new people, thousands of new people, millions of new people. Tennis is the greatest sport.
I hope so. And that is the silver lining. I thank you again so much for being on this call. I wish you only the best of luck with New York and Cincinnati in New York. And just crush it in a safe way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ivan, and have a great day.
And you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mike.